I'm Jody Davis at IWF 2008 with American Woodworker, and I'm here with Barry at the Powermatic booth. Barry, what are you introducing new at the show this year?
Well, this year we have our flagship bandsaw.
Wow.
Yeah, it's actually been in development for about 3 years, and we're really excited to finally debut it.
Yay! Well, tell me about it.
Sure. I'll give you a little bit of inspiration behind it. You know, I think that maybe the best way to say this is, I would characterize this as, let's call it a retaliation on an industry trend, okay? And what happens is, as machines are produced, you'll typically see them kind of evolve as being a product of cost reduction efforts, okay?
Yeah.
So one day you wake up and you look at a machine and you compare it to an older machine and you realize this is just not the machine that it used to be.
Oh.
And it's really more of an evolution of those cost reduction efforts. So what we try to do with this machine is start from the ground up and say, you know what, we're not going to compromise anything. Overbuild it for the sake of overbuilding if that's what it takes. So
wow.
I'm proud to present it here, and we can go through some features to illustrate the very thing that we just pointed out there.
So it's like reinventing the bandsaw.
One way of putting it.
This machine has a removable fence. Can we start with that?
Absolutely, Jody. Let's take a look at this removable fence here. This is a side plate that you can take off and put into a second position, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And the implication is this, is I can simply move that up. If I were ripping thin strips, I can have the guide assembly, which is also the guard assembly, in a much safer position rather than being obstructed by a tall fence, okay? Consequently, I can also remove that fence and put in a resaw pin in this position, okay? Now this would typically be up close to the blade, the guide assembly would be behind, I would be resawing lumber, okay? So a lot of neat things going on with the fence that you typically see on a table saw. A lot of nice features here. We're actually able to adjust the pressure of that cam lock. And adjust it for drift as well. Okay, looking at additional features on the bandsaw, slide that back there. Let's come up, look at the guard assembly here. What we have here is a guard that actually encapsulates the blade on all four sides, and that's much safer as we avoid incidental contact, okay? In addition to that, we have some interesting things going on with the guide assembly, okay? On the thrust bearing, there's some interesting details there where we can actually stabilize smaller blades for scroll work. What we have here is forward and back adjustment, lock. Here I have cam adjustment and lock as well, totally toolless. Okay, so what we have up top here is a very hefty cast iron wheel. This is going to generate a lot more power than a lighter weight aluminum wheel. You can see the heft of the tensioning system here with a large square thread. You know you got a hold of a machine and not a toy.
I like your tracking window. It seems to be easier to see than others I'm familiar with.
That's right, Jody. And as a matter of fact, if you look closely, you'll see that the wheel actually has a white tire, and that aids in your visibility of the blade on the tire.
So that's why.
Absolutely.
Could you tell me about the dust collection on this machine?
We sure can, Jody. We'll take a look at that under the table. So what we have here, Jody, is two dust collection ports. We're trying to collect the primary dust collection at the source here, which you see here. And if that doesn't work, we have another dust collection port down here at the bottom with a ramp that persuades those chips to that port. Also going on down here, we have the foot brake. You'll notice here, this is actually electrically interlocked to stop the motor when you press this brake.
Safety first, that's a good thing. Let's move around to the back. You have something interesting going on back there I want to see. Detensioning and releasing is a big deal in the industry. I like what you've done here.
Thank you, Jody. We tried to make this totally toolless and easy. If you look here, I'm going to release this lever down here for the detention position from this side. Consequently, if I want to release the blade fully, I can go to the other side. Come right back up. Notice the exaggerated scale here on blade width.
Oh yeah, you can see it very easily.
Absolutely. We have our tracking adjustment here and then a knob where you can lock that adjustment positively.
That makes things really handy.
Exactly.
Barry, tilting the tables on bandsaws can be problematic. Why do I like this one? It's so much easier to tilt than others.
That's right, Jody. We have a hand wheel here where I can simply release the pressure and rotate this table up to whatever degree I'd like, up to 45 degrees. Consequently, I can also rotate it back and go in the negative position as well and simply lock that adjustment.
And you're not using any effort. That just goes so easily.
Very little. Let's look at what we have going on down here at the bottom. A hefty 5 horsepower motor. We only offer it in the 5 horsepower and no smaller horsepowers. So you can get this in single or 3 phase. Also back here is the change for speed. Okay, I can go to the high or low speed, make my belt adjustment from the front, come back, simply release the motor and lock it down.
So whatever the application, you've got me covered.
That's right, Jody.
Well, you really delivered on what you promised at the beginning of this with the PM 1800.
We hope that we've improved the integrity of bandsaws, and this will lead the category.
Well, it's a wonderful tool.